Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. So, this is a little bit different video of mine. This will be a much longer video than what I've been making. In the past few videos, I've made the basics of Java. And what I've decided to do is since, alhamdulillah, now that I'm a software engineer, I'm going to recreate my projects from college. And I'm going to start off by the very first project I ever did, the first line of code I wrote. Before I go forward, I do want to give a great thanks to my professor, the great Dr. John M. Gouch. He has a PhD. He is the one that has inspired me to do this. His passion for teaching caused me to teach under him. I was his TA, as well as starting his YouTube channel. So let's get on with it. Um, your program should do the following. We want to prompt the user for the size of the box, height, width, and length in inches. For example, a common box size is 15 inches by 16 inches by 22. The second thing is we want to prompt the user for the interior size of the truck, which is meaning this part right here. We're first going to want to calculate and print how many boxes of this size will fit into the truck when the height, width, length orientation of the box is aligned with the height, width, length orientation of the truck. So depending on the amount of boxes we have, we want to calculate that with the amount that can fit inside the truck. First off the bat, reading this, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, since we are dealing with feet and we're dealing with inches, I did that reversed. Since we're dealing with feet and we're dealing with inches, what I'm going to want to do is make these, anything that's going to be put into feet, turn them automatically into inches, because that'd be much easier to compare. Second, calculate and print how much empty space there is in the truck, all three directions, height, width, length, after the boxes are put in the truck. And then finally, calculate and print the space utilization of the truck. Alright, and I'm going to make sure I edit out really boring parts, and I want to just keep in the parts that are interesting, that are like to the point. So, and I'm going to now write down these steps. So, I'm going to move this over here, kind of where you guys can't really see it. I've already made the file. I'll put that right there. Okay. So, first things first, public, public class main, and I will be using the main class. I won't be naming it anything else. And now we want the public static void main string args. And as always, I like to do this right here. Just as a bismillah. Just as a way for me to start my code. So this is how I usually make the skeleton class of my code. I'm saying bismillah and I'm gonna run it. Bismillah. Okay, so this just gives me like a good feeling like, okay, I'm about to start coding. It's like giving your niyat, like your intention that I'm about to code, in my opinion. So alright, now that I've wrote down our task, this is what I would do if I just started off this program or this project. Is the first thing that I want to do is I know that I need to get user input. So I'm going to go ahead and say scanner, my object, which is very common, new scanner system.in. Alright, and now it's red because I need to import my scanner library. And now system dot out dot print line enter. What we're gonna do is we're gonna be using a single box. We're gonna have one single box inside of this truck, and with the single box size. So if we decide to have a box that's 15 by 16 by 22 inches, that box will be used multiple times inside of our truck. So we're going to ask the user for the box size. So enter size of box. We will make it a double, and we will say box size inches equals my object dot next double. Okay, and now system dot out dot print line box size is box size inches. We're not done yet because I'm just right now testing the variable to make sure that my scanner object is working. A good practice to do when you start off code. Java C main dot Java main. And there we go. Alhamdulillah, it's printing out. Box size is 123, 234. Okay, so now I want to make a small adjustment. I'm going to say box size width, and we're going to have double box size height, my object dot next double, and double box size length, my object dot next double. Okay, so now in here we can type in box size is box width is box size width, and then width is, height is, this is very rough code. We're going to clean it up soon. We just want to make sure all the variables are correct and that everything that we're telling it to print is printing out. Height and length. I always mess up my length. I don't know why. Should really get that fixed. Length is box size length. Okay. Alright, so now we have all three variables, the width, the height, the length, and now we're going to print it out to the console to make sure that all our numbers are right. So let's clear that. Let's compile it. We're going to run it. Okay, so box size, and we're going to use enter size of box. Gotta fix that actually. See, that's why debugging is important. That's why you should always debug and run your code every few times you change it. So now we know to fix this right here. So we can just add a little code. We can actually just stop the program. I'd rather do that. Control C stops programs. I don't think it matters if you're on Mac or Windows. Enter. And what we can do actually to avoid confusion is put one after each and enter width of box, height of box, and length of box. And I'm going to switch this up to match what the prompt told us. Okay, so we have our scanner object, now we are asking for the height, then we are asking for the width, and then we are asking for the length. Perfect. Okay. Alright, so now after I've done a little bit of cleanup, and I've also made it match what the prompt wanted us to do, we are now going to run it and test it to make sure that everything is working. Because last time we tested it, we had said enter size of box. We didn't want that because we're actually entering 3 dimensions. So we want to test it says each single one. So the user's not going to understand. We always got to think in the perspective of the user. When the user sees enter size of box, they may type in everything at once. And that may not be pretty whenever for the scanner object. So let's clear that. Java C main.java. I wrote that very wrong. Java C main.java. Alhamdulillah Java main. Enter height of box. And the height in here was 15. Enter width. The width was 16. And the length is going to be 22. So box height is 15. Width is 16. Length is 22. Alright, so we have completed this first part. So that's done. Next, we're going to move on to entering in the width, length, height, width, and length of the truck. Bismillah. Now that we have our box size, what we want to do now is prompt the user for the size of the truck. So again, we can still use this same scanner object, and actually, I'm going to move this up here, and then I'm going to move that down, and I'm going to replace that. Alright, so declaring scanner object. Okay. That's like clean code. I'm a sucker for clean code. Alright, so now what we can see here is that, and I'm going to have this code in the comments for you guys to look at. So we're going to declare the scanner object. Scanner my object is a new object scanner, and we're taking in user input. So we're asking the user for that, and then we're using the scanner object to see what the user put in, and we're adding that to this variable. So each of these variables contain what we wanted to contain, and we check that by system.out printing everything we want. The reason why I did float or double is because it allows us to complete this step, the space utilization, so we can calculate what we need to calculate. So next up, prompt the user for the size of the truck. All right, so now we're going to say system.out.println, enter, and we want the height width. Okay, enter height of truck in feet. Okay, now this part's a little bit tricky because what we're actually doing is we are taking in a double truck size feet equals my object dot next double, right? How we're going to do this is we're going to actually convert this object or this variable, truck size feet, which the user will put in, into truck size inches. Now, when you're naming variables, you can name them anything. I could even name this banana. Okay? That's not going to be very helpful to me because when I'm working in the code and I'm trying to do these configurations and everything, especially like if I want to print out something, if I were to type in box height is banana, I would be so confused later down the road. And if somebody else were to look at my code, they would also wonder like, what is banana? And they'll have to sit there and trace banana all the way back and see, oh, that's what banana is, and it'll just create a lot of confusion. So you want to make sure that your naming variables is something that you'll be able to understand. So truck size inches, and you don't want to do stuff like this. So truck size inches. TSI, no one knows what TSI is except you. You want to start practicing good coding habits from the beginning. So let's change this back to truck size inches. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take truck size feet. And how many inches are in the feet? 12. That's what I'm doing. So I basically took truck size feet, which is the one that the user input, and I'm multiplying it by 12, and I'm storing that inside of truck size inches. We're going to use this variable to compare these variables, because that's what step 3 wants us to do. So now I'm going to repeat this process for the width and the height. Okay, so now that I've done that, I have 3 components. I have the height, the width, and the feet, and the length, the height, the width, and the length in feet, and then I'm converting each of those into inches right there. Okay, so as always, we are now going to output what we want to see that it outputs it correctly in inches. So print line trucks height in feet is truck height feet plus and in inches is plus truck height inches. Okay, I'm just going to start with this right here because I'm going to do this and then I can print out the next two system.out statements. So let's go ahead and clear that. Java C main.java. Again, typing too fast for my own good. Main.java. And now Java main. Enter height of box. The height of the box, let's follow the prompt. It's 15 by 16 by 22. Alright, enter height of truck in feet. So the feet is going to be 8 feet. And this is 7 by 20. So the truck's height in feet is 8 and in inches is 96. So 8 times 12 is 96. So that means that everything is working as expected. Now I'm going to move on and do the other two, the width and the length. Okay, so now that I've added these 2 lines, one thing I do want to say is I like to separate my prompts out. So this prompt was asking for the size of the truck. Prompt the user for the size of the box input. Prompt the user for the size of the truck, which is this right here. Prompt the user for the size of the truck. Oops, I didn't mean to write this over and over. That's my bad. I was so confused. I was like, why are there so many prompts all of a sudden? Okay. Alright. So prompt user for size of the box input right here. Since we're starting a new one, I can say system.out.println. And I can just do this right here. I don't even need to put anything inside. It's just going to print an empty line. So prompt the user for the size of the truck. Okay. Height, width, and length. truck's height in feet, width in feet, length in feet. It's going to convert it into the inches in all three of those categories. So I'm going to go ahead and do Java C main.java and spell Java right. And I'm going to say Java main. Enter height of box. The height of the box we're going to say is 15. Width is going to be 16. I believe that's 22. Okay. Now you see that blank line right here? That blank line was because of this out statement right here. Okay. Now enter height of the truck in feet. Now in the feet is going to be a 8 by 7 by 20. So 8 times 12 is 96, 7 times 12 is 84, 20 times 12 is, I don't know, 240, okay? Okay, so, alhamdulillah, that's working. So far, alhamdulillah, everything is working as expected. However, I do want to check for one thing, is whenever I put something other than 8 or 7 or 20, I want to put in a float number and see, do I get a proper inch number? It'll make sense here in a second. Java C main.java and Java main. Enter height. Now we can just put random values in here. Enter height of truck in feet. So I want to say 8.54. Okay. 7.62. I wish I didn't write that. 9.23. As you can see, it is capturing double values. Okay. On to the next part. Is we're going to calculate how many boxes will fit inside of our truck. We're going to need two variables here. We're going to need our double theoretical boxes, and we'll have height, and then we'll have int exact boxes height. Let's make that height. Okay, so what our theoretical is going to allow us to do is we'll have that overvalue, because we can't have half a box. Technically we could, but when we're calculating how many boxes you want to put inside, we're going to want to calculate a full box. So we want to see exactly how many boxes can be put in, so that's going to be a full box, and the theoretical will be the percentage or the dot over, so 12.5, 12.6, etc. So we need this for the height, the width, and the length. So I'm going to go ahead and make those real quick. Okay, so now that I've wrote all these, the equation that's going to go in there is going to be we want the inches, because that's what we converted it from. So we will take our truck length inches, truck length height, truck height inches, box size height. Okay, so we're going to want to take this double variable and this double variable, and we're going to calculate, not this one, my bad, this double variable right here. So the truck height inches divided by the box size inches. So it's going to be truck height inches divided by the box size height. Okay? And what this is going to output is, for example, we have these 15 by 8, and then 8 is converted to 12, which is 96. So we're going to have the 96 divided by 15, and that's going to be stored inside of our theoretical box's height. Now we're going to take this exact same equation, and we're going to move it right here. However, it's going to ask us for a type mismatch. And what we're going to have to do is you can either type this or you can just use a quick fix, and we're going to wrap it around an int. So we're going to cast it to int. Now what we're doing is we are taking this double variable right here, and we are saying to make it into an int. And once it becomes an int, that is what we are storing inside of the exact box's height. That's a method inside of Java that we can use. So now if we were to print out each of these, so we'll say system.out.print line, theoretical box's height, and that's going to be theo box's height. We'll say another one, which is system.out.print line, exact box's height, and we'll say exact box's height. Okay, now what we're going to do, we'll just fix this print line real quick, change to print line. So now we should print out our double, which will be some components carried over, and the exact will be a perfect round number with no decimal point. So let's run that one more time. Java main and then Java main. Enter box height. We'll start off with just what is given. So the box height is going to be 15 inches, the width of the box, and we can just put in a random number there. Enter height of truck. Over here, our height is 8. The width is going to be, we can just put in any number. Okay, now we can see that the truck's height in feet is 8 and in inches is 96, so we've converted that. The theoretical box's height is going to be 6.4, and we can put exactly 8 boxes inside, 8 exact boxes inside of our truck. So that's how we're going to do part 2. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of the equation, and I'll come back to you guys. Okay, now that we have all the equation written out, so I'm trying to take out the tedious parts, what we need to do is we need to calculate how many boxes will fit inside of this truck. Now, one thing we need to remember is that we want to write a line of code that's going to calculate the cube, and that should be length times width times height, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this formula, and this is area of a square. Just put that comment in. So we're going to be using this formula right here, length times width times height. And what we're going to do is we are going to take our already measured components, and we are basically just going to multiply this. So we can say the double theoretical boxes inside truck is going to be equal to theoretical boxes height times theoretical boxes length times theoretical boxes width. Okay? And we are taking these 3 components and we are storing this area right here. So this is going to be the area of basically how many boxes we can store in here. And we can have another int. It's going to be the exact boxes within truck. Let's make it consistent. So exact boxes inside truck, and that's going to be the exact boxes height times the exact boxes length times the exact boxes width. Okay? And now I can say system.out.println theoretical boxes that fit inside the truck is, and then we can print out theoretical boxes inside truck. Okay, and we will do the same for this. So I can actually just copy this line to make times quicker, which I don't actually recommend. I always recommend when you first start off, just type out everything because you get a good feel of programming that way. And then we can just change this to exact with the lowercase. Exact boxes inside of the truck. And I'm just going to remove the rest of the exact boxes that fit inside the truck is theoretical boxes that fit inside the truck is. Okay, so now let's go ahead and clear that, compile it, and Bismillah, Java main. All right, so let's go ahead and follow what the project told us to do. I'm going to bring that up in front of y'all again. And we have a 15 by 16 by 22 box and an 8 foot by 7 foot by 20 foot truck. So enter height of box. It's going to be 15 by 16 by 22. Okay. So box height is 15, width is 16, length is 22. This is checking to make sure everything was put in correctly. So enter height of the truck in feet. The height is going to be a 8 foot by 7 foot by 20 foot. Now, truck's height in feet is 8 feet, 96. Everything looks good here. Okay, this is all the measurements, and this is calculated out into inches. Theoretical boxes that fit inside the truck is 366 boxes theoretically will fit inside of the truck. So we'll have 366.54 boxes inside of that truck. So we can't have 366 and a half boxes. However, exactly 300 boxes will fit inside of that truck. So we know that a truck with this dimension right here will have 300 boxes fit inside. So everything looks like it's working out perfectly. We still need to calculate the space utilization. So we are going to get to that part here in a bit. We first need to calculate how much empty space we have in the truck. So in order to calculate the empty space in the truck, pretty simple. We're going to use a double variable, and we're going to name it empty, always start with the lowercase empty space left in truck. Okay? And all we're going to do is we are going to take the theoretical boxes inside the truck and subtract that from the exact boxes inside the truck. And we are going to also add this for spacing. And now we will print out system.out.println empty. You might see it in the terminal. I was testing out a few things to see if I could do it another way. Empty space left in truck. And we are going to add that variable, empty space left in truck. Okay, now I am going to run the program again. And I'm going to say Java compile main.java. And now Java main. Enter height of box is going to be a 15 by 16 by 22. Height is going to be an 8 by 7 by 20. Empty space left in truck is 66. I could say space, you could say. You could say inches, sure. 66 inches is left in the truck. And how we did that is we took the theoretical boxes, which is 366 boxes could have fit inside, minus the 300, and we're printing this out to the console now. So 66 inches technically is left inside of the truck. Perfect. So we've done all three parts, and we are going to come up to the final part, which is calculating and printing the space utilization of the truck. What we are going to do is we are going to take the percentage of what is left inside of the truck. Or not inside. We're going to take the percentage of how much of the truck we've used. Now, you can think of this as a pie. From the pie of 10 pieces or 10 slices, we take 9 slices, and that gives us 9 out of 10. 9 divided by 10 is 0.9. We want to convert that into a percentage. That's going to become 90%. We're doing the exact same method with the truck. However many boxes are inside of the truck, minus how many boxes would fit perfectly inside of the truck, which is our theoretical. Divide that, and then we're multiplying that by 100% to give us our percentage. So let's start off with a double, because that's what we're going to be working with. A double, and we'll say total space used in truck, or total space utilized. I'll either use that keyword, that variable name, total space utilized, and we are going to say, we're going to use parentheses and say exact boxes inside of the truck divided by the theoretical boxes inside of the truck, and we are going to multiply that by 100. Now, when I print it out, I'm going to say total space utilized in truck is, and we can say now, total space utilized plus, and I can add a percentage sign to make it look nice. Now, from the document right here, we see that the total space utilized with these numbers right here should be 81.8%. Now that I'm going to run this program again, it should give me the same thing. So Java compile main.java, and we'll say Java main. So the height is going to be a 15 by 16 by 22 and 8 by 7 by 20. And there we have it. We have a total utilization of 81.8, and we can see the percentage sign is here as well. So now if we go through the steps again, we have completed our scanner object, that's for taking in stuff, prompting the user for the box input size. We get the box input size, we print it out. That's done. That part is done. Now we want to see the size of the truck. When we take that size, we want to convert that into inches. So the user puts their height in the height in feet. We take their height from the scanner object. We then convert it to inches by multiplying by 12 and restoring that in this variable truck height inches. We do that for the width and the length. Then we print that out to make sure everything is right. And we print out both the height feet and the height inches. Then, I think I just lost my place. Then we are going to see how many boxes will fit inside the truck. How we do that is we first declare these theoretical and the exact. So we have a double theoretical box height, width, and length, and then an int exact box height, width, and length. and this gives us the exact amount of boxes that would, or the theoretically exact amount of boxes that could fit inside the truck, and this gives us the reality, the exact boxes, actual boxes that would fit inside this truck. So then we use this formula, the area of a square, which is length times width times height. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said area. This is actually the volume of a cube or rectangle prism. Basically, we're just taking the area of a three-dimensional object. Let's say that. That'll make it easier. Of a 3D object. So a volume of a 3D object is length times width times height, and we do that by first doing the theoretical boxes inside the truck by saying the theoretical height times length times width, storing that in this variable. Then we do the exact, which is the height times width times length times height, the height times length times width, storing that in this variable, and we print out each of those to make sure that everything is working as expected. Now we see the total utilization, or the empty space left in the truck, and we subtract the theoretical from the exact, telling us exactly how much space is left in the truck. Then we also take the space utilization by dividing the exact divided by the theoretical, multiplying that by 100, and that gives us a percentage of how much space has been utilized. And now we have all the components of our, I can actually clear this up, terminal. I'm going to run it again, Java compile main.java and Java main. Now I'm going to put a 10 by 10 by 10 box inside of a, I want to say a 5 by 5 by 10 truck, okay? So 10 inches, 10 width, 10 length. Now enter the height of the truck. I want it to be 5 feet by 5 feet by 10 feet, okay? So we use these numbers, and the truck's height is 5, so 60 by 60 by 120. The theoretical boxes that fit inside the truck is 432, so that's good. Exact boxes that fit inside the truck is also 432, so that's working as expected. There is 0 empty space left in the truck because we did use proper numerical values to make sure that the box size is conventional to the truck, and the total space utilized in the truck is 100%, just as I expected. Now let's do some outlandish. Now we don't need to compile it every time. We can just run it. I want to test it with some crazy numbers. So the height can be a 8, the width can be a 12, and then the length of the box can be 4. And now the truck, I want it to be a decent sized truck, so I'll say a 7 by 8, and I'll give this probably a 17. Oh, okay, not that bad. So we have the inches of the truck, and now we have the theoretical boxes. We can fit 4,284 theoretical boxes with nothing remaining. That's amazing how those random numbers came out with that. But the exact boxes that fit inside the truck is 4080. So the empty space left in the truck is going to be 204. So that's the number that's going to be left inside the truck. That's how much space, inches, you could consider is going to be left inside the truck. And we utilize 95% of that truck. Now I want to do another test, and we're going to run that again. Enter height of the box. I want to have a big box, so let's do like 100 by 100 by 100. And now my truck, I want it to be a small Tonka truck, so I'll say 2 feet by 3 feet by 5 feet. That's perfect, beautiful. So now I see that theoretical boxes that fit inside the truck is a 0.05184. How many boxes would actually fit in that truck? It would be 0, because this box is too big to be fit inside of a truck this small. Empty space left in the truck, 0.05184. That's basically taking this times this, because we're going over, and the total space utilization of the truck is 0%. So everything looks as checked out. For this right here, later on I would add an if-else statement to say that if the exact is smaller, or the theoretical, or if the exact is bigger than theoretical, something like that, I would not let them print out the number, because then this would be considered a bug. So that is the final project. Oh, not the final project, but that is the first project I ever did in college when I first started coding. I have a good sense that if you were to do a project like this, you would start getting a better understanding of programming. You would understand putting in an algorithm where the variables are stored, how to tell user input, and yeah, so I hope this video is helpful. If there's any criticism or anything like that, please leave it in the comments. If you need any help at any certain point, be sure to leave a comment below and I'll try to get back to you. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed. Jazakallah khair, and assalamu alaikum. See you in the next video.